All right, so you know this is a live TV show because of, if it wasn't, they cut this stuff out because we usually talk about how we're going to work through a product.
Who gets to intro
who's going to intro
presentation, right?
And obviously we didn't do a good enough job communicating, but guess what? The product is all about the product on this one. You don't need us. You need to see this photo. Tonight, something crazy special. In 1968, they transferred the capability of making proofs from Philadelphia to San Francisco, and ever since 1968, it's been San Francisco's domain. However, the frosted appearance, as you can see here, on a regular 1968 proof set doesn't exist. So how can it be on a coin? They didn't perfect that till later in their first decade of making coins. So you're looking at a regular 1968 proof set, which has a beautiful Kennedy half-dollar in proof, but all of a sudden some of these coins are showing up with frosting on them, like we see today with our modern proofs. Well, that's what they call cameo, a cameo appearance on a coin. This is the first 3 years. Why are the first 3 years significant? Because it's the last 3 years proof silver Kennedys were made. 68, 69, and 70 were silver. We transferred over to clad in 71. So this is the first 3 years. They're silver and they're all cameos. Wow.
And this is a three-piece set, folks, in high grade 69, highest grade known to exist. Here's another shot of where they originally came from, out of that 1968, of course, 69 and 70 proof set. But the first strikes in those production techniques were the finer strikes, the cameos. So this one here is just a great example of what the rest of the 68s look like. And in a second, we'll show you side by side the 1968 Kennedy half-dollar proof out of the proof set and these. You could see the difference. That cameo is the contrast between the relief, which is the design that pops out, and the field, which is that dark mirror-like background. In uncirculated coinage, we call them proof-like. So it's the first strikes off the die, and in uncirculated condition, they are PL. So these are the cameos. They're graded as 69. We're going to get into the populations and the mintage figures as well. But $239.85 is the price for all three, which is $79.95 per coin. Now in 1968, they made 3.3 million proof sets. 1969, 2.9 million. And 1970, 2.6 million. So you're looking at a pretty high mintage figure for each one of these dates. However, in 69 grade, you're looking at population figures of just 1,301 68s, 2,732 69s, and 1970, only 1,979. So in consideration of those three numbers, you're looking at 1,301 sets known to exist.
And that's because of the 68, but that is for 69 cameo. Huge difference here, everybody. And again, that number is limited. Today, if this was, have you seen a 2022 silver Kennedy in 70, the highest grade known, for under $100? No. This is going back to the origin of San Francisco proof Kennedys, and we have the finest known, and it's not just a 69, the highest grade, it's a cameo on top of it, which means we get that beautiful frosting that didn't exist until the later parts of the 1970s, basically more so the early 1980s, when all of our coins had that cameo appearance. The U.S. Mint San Francisco perfected the art of striking. But this was year one. It wasn't supposed to be this way. But you explained it so well. Let me hit it one more time. A regular uncirculated coin, we polish the dies. We strike it once, and then it goes into production for thousands of coins. The first few coins look like a proof coin, but they're not. They call them proof-likes. On the proof side, they are already polished. The dies are polished, the coins are polished, but when they're working on contrast, right, they're taking away some of the polish on the inner side, which is the device, Kennedy on the obverse, etc. And when they strike those first few coins, the polish isn't rubbing off into the surface of the coin. There's a big contrast. So you see the deep mirrored background, and then you see the frosted Kennedy. That's cameo. And that is why so few of them exist. And again, they've been out there forever. It's just over the last decade or so, a lot of astute collectors have been paying a lot of attention to this. They've been giving credit to this at NGC and PCGS for decades because they understand there's a drastic difference, right, between a regular proof and then a Cameo appearance, because Cameo gets you even closer. It's taking the highest grade known as 69 and now adding the eye appeal that cannot be touched.
And of course, we have Cameo right there on the label. It's a 3-piece set, all graded that high-grade 69 Cameo. We did not find any of our competitors out in the marketplace with a 69 set, but I can compare it to a 1964 Kennedy for you. That's a silver proof from first year of issue. The 64, there's about 1,106 known of those in Cameo 69, and that sells for $500. These are $79.95 each, and again, the population is very similar. It's very close. Only 1,300 sets known to exist, and these coins are $79.95 each.
That's a great comparison because there are only 4 silver Kennedy proofs from the early years. They brought it back in 1992, but the early years was the Philadelphia 64, and then there are 3 San Francisco proofs silver. These are those 3. And again, the first year, there are no 70s. There are no 70s for these 3 years either. That technique and the improvements in striking over the last couple of decades, we can now actually attain that grade. So the highest numeric grade is a 69. The highest eye appeal is that beautiful Cameo appearance, right? But a 64 with comparable numbers to the 68 sells for $500 or more. We have the entire set for half of that price, but each coin then breaks down to only $79.95. Hey guys, we got to put a clock up on this one. We're down to single digits. Again, we didn't have many to start with because, again, there's only 1,301 sets in the world that have that Cameo added onto it. That eye appeal that is beyond everything else you've seen.
And again, here's a great shot of the difference between a regular 1968 proof out of the proof set, but a 1968 proof Cameo, which is the early strikes, the first strikes off the die in that production process. It's come a long way. You see our current coins have that deep Cameo appearance now, but these are from 1968 when it wasn't general.
I was told that. I think we're that close to a sellout, more calls than everything else. Guys, we got to do a hot cut on this one. Everybody, thank you for listening. This set is a gorgeous collection.